This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
Is the Miller's Edge with Christian Miller, two-time national champion and team captain for the Alabama Crimson Tide, and former Carolina Panther, and his father, Corey Miller, the pastor of pain, a 9-year NFL veteran with the New York Giants and University of South Carolina Hall of Famer. This is the Miller's Edge.
On the low. I'm just trying to get you out the friend zone, 'cause you look even better than the photos. I can't find your house, send me the info.
And welcome into the Miller's Edge here on a Wednesday edition. Hope you're doing well. We call it a hump day. A lot of people call it the middle of the week, but we're going to call it a Wednesday because there's a lot of stuff happening going on in our world of sports on today, especially there local in Tuscaloosa.
There it is.
We'll get right into that. Corey Miller, the pastor of Pain, here with you alongside Christian Miller and that one who's the best reader in all of Alabama. That dude, Noah Haynes here is with you. Ching-a-ling-a-ling. Hit him up with a super ching if you want to for his good reading. We like for him to read. How do you say we do that? Well, you can download the Tide 100.9 free app on your cell phone, on your smart device, whatever you got. And then, of course, you can't get on the phone lines. You can leave a message there. You can leave an audio message, or you can just comment, whatever you want to do. We got that available for you that may be at work and you can't get on the phone. So that's a great option for you to be a part of the show. The number for the program, it never changes, 205-342-9904 is the number for the show. We're sponsored by our good friends at the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. And go see Douglas if you're in Tuscaloosa. Douglas is a cool dude. Spent some time with him in Nashville when I spoke at their conference. The Good Feet Store, good people there. They'll get you fitted, and you can try before you buy. And as Christian always says, 2 feet at a time, and they'll take care of you. Well, a lot to get into the show. I'll just introduce the boys first, let them go before we get into it. I know what everybody wants to talk about. We'll talk about that here in just a moment. A couple things, big things, of course, with Caleb Downs and then the new hiring of Buffalo's head coach. We'll talk about that. Where does the Tide go from here? A lot of things happening. So we'll get deep into that conversation as well. Nate Oates and the basketball team for Alabama getting a big win last night at home and a very cold, frigid, icy, wet, whatever you want to call it. But the coach showed up. Caleb DeBoer showed up. I thought he was supposed to do it at the Auburn game. The last I heard, I thought they postponed him coming to Coleman Coliseum, but he showed up. Wasn't very long. Just basically talked to the crowd for about 20 seconds, and that was it from him. So we'll get into all of that good stuff, plus a Wednesday walk around the SEC, and we'll talk about basketball because the basketball is happening in Alabama right now, looking good in the SEC. So that's right here. We're going to set the table. Now let's go down to Tuscaloosa. Christian Miller is in studio, as you can see if you're on our YouTube chat, on our YouTube extra page. Hello, guys. How are you doing? Good day to you. Woo-woo Wednesday to you. Christian, woo-woo Wednesday to you.
What's up? Yeah, I'm doing good. Appreciate everybody in here. I'm looking at the chat now. We've got people filling in on our YouTube stream, so go check us out if you haven't already. Again, that's at The Miller's Edge on YouTube. Appreciate everybody tuning in, whether it's FM or the app. So make sure you download those things as well if you want to listen there. But again, we're excited, man. Another day, another explosive day in the news for things to talk about. Another day for some disgruntled fans.
It never stops. It's not going to stop.
Well, we got about, I think, what did I say? Yesterday was 24, right? So if today's Wednesday, Coach Saban retired. I think it was last Wednesday. That's 7 days. That'd mean 23 days left if the portal window started.
How many more days we got left?
If the portal window started last Wednesday when he retired, if I have my days right, that would be 7 days. 7 minus 30 equals 23. So 23 days left of this madness.
Hey.
So
we're going to make it 20. Will there be anybody left? 23 days.
Well, as the basketball program says, buckle up. Do they still say that?
Yeah.
They might not say that anymore. I don't know. But
we're saying it.
Yeah, well, you might as well get ready for some turbulence. But, I mean, nonetheless, again, this is what you expect with these changes, and we'll dive into that. I'm not going to get too much into it because I'm sure we're going to probably spend at least one half of the show talking about this because, I mean, I'm seeing some reactions, man, which I totally understand people being upset. But again, I urge fans to kind of relax, right? Let's calm down a bit. Remember, these are 18 and 22-year-old kids. I get their decisions might upset you as a fan, but ultimately it's their lives, right? They have to live with these decisions. So let's remember that first and foremost before we attack people and start turning on people. Let's give them an opportunity to seek what they feel is best for them, right? Let's handle it that way. But with that being said, we're doing good down here in Tuscaloosa. I'm sure there's some people that aren't doing as good as they get this news. But at the end of the day, you got to remember that this is part of college football now, and you just got to learn to adapt. But I will say, I didn't necessarily think this was going to be the case at first, but I will say I think we are kind of heading more so in almost that rebuild territory. Right. And I know some people are probably like, oh, well, we already were because Coach Saban left. Well, I mean, if you kept most of the roster intact, it might not really have been a rebuild. It might have been a little bit of a refresh. But we're starting to navigate towards more of a rebuild as some of these key pieces, these staple pieces, not even just that, but these young pieces, because you mentioned, Caleb Downs, but also Caden Proctor. Both guys were true freshmen last year. I think both guys landed on some type of freshman All-American team or All-SEC freshman team, whatever. Two staple pieces to the team. Both now are expected to enter the transfer portal if they haven't done so already. That being said, I think we're kind of getting in that territory of almost starting to look more like a rebuild, which we'll talk about what that means, right? Some more through the show. But definitely want to take your calls and hear your guys' thoughts on that. 205-342-9904 is the number if you want to call. You can always leave a chat here. I'll try to get to it. I also, navigate the chat during the breaks over here on our podcast stream, but also if you really want to make sure you get on air, definitely download the Tide app and hit the app messages because it's much easier there. Or super chats always are pretty easy to see, or just call in, which is free. So make sure you do all those good things because we got a lot to talk about today.
Well, let's get into it. I mean, we got to do it. I mean, so let me I want to throw a theory out there, and it's not a bad theory. It's just I perceive as fact, and it's basically what I've been saying the whole time, right? So I'm not shocked at any of this. And I know we talked about, and people on, the various social media platforms talked about the coach and his record, and that's fine. That's really fine. But the reality was they just kind of, a lot of people, not all, a lot of people assume that it's Alabama, right? And this guy went 25-3 in the Pac-12, and that this was just going to just translate. This is just going to transition over to the SEC into this locker room. And what I was saying, and people got a little upset, was that's not the case, because when you are in the recruiting, where you're at makes a big difference. Who you're getting recruited by makes a big difference. Relationships, as we sing today, makes a wealth of difference, right? It's because this is not just a short-term relationship for the most cases. These relationships are long-term. These relationships can go even, some of them, 8th, 9th grade. When you got a Nick Saban and his staff, even though he has turnover within his staff, but Nick Saban is still there. There is a familiarity with the coaching staff that these kids go say, oh, okay, yeah, I know the position coach was there, but he gone, or the coordinator was there, and but the goal is still there, right? So that kept things intact for Alabama. Here's what I'm going to say to you, a couple of things. And I'd love to hear what you think. This is not hating. This is not being, positive, just being real. Reality is this to me. As I sat there last night, and I kind of already knew Caleb Downs was going to leave because I know the relationships are there, right? This is not really all about money, even though people want to make it as dollars and cents. Okay, Caleb Downs come from a really well-to-do family. Again, I told you I played with his father at the Giants several years. They're doing well for themselves. He got a brother that's in the NFL. I mean, it ain't like this is some family that's chasing the bag. I'm not going to believe that. Okay? But here's what I'm going to say first, Christian.
I wouldn't rule that out completely.
Well, I mean, I'm not ruling out completely because money is still money, but I'm saying he's not going to just chase the bag and chase the bag.
Yeah, well, I'll just real quick before you finish, I'll just say this. So I know for a fact he was offered much more money to go other places, but he chose to take less and come here to play for Coach Saban and be in this program.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I just want to throw that in there. Go ahead.
That's all I'm saying because he could have got more money like at A&M, probably Georgia.
For sure.
Right? But here's what I want us to look at, though. Coach Saban, here's my number one point. I hope y'all don't get mad with me, but I just need to be honest. Coach Saban and this whole situation, maybe it wasn't intentional. This definitely wasn't intentional because he didn't want to hurt this program. But Coach Saban, how he retired initially, hurt the program going forward. Because these kids were caught off guard, right? The kids in that locker room had no idea that Coach Saban was leaving. Number two, these 25 kids, and now you only got 2 commitments. Everybody else decommitted, and I think the rest of them probably will as well. They all caught off guard. So he did what was best for him and his family. And you can't blame him. But if you're looking to, so that's not really blame, but the way he retired, Christian, hurt Alabama's program because these kids just not going to flip the script and run to Kalen DeBoer, right? And you can say we're keeping him here, but he's going to move on with his life and he's going to do other things. But right now, no matter what he says to these kids, it's probably not going to work. So they're going to probably move on. And like you said, this is a new era. We're starting over. Kalen DeBoer might as well recruit where he knows, right? If I'm Kalen DeBoer, I'm going to Washington, and those guys that's in the portal, like the lineman and the cornerback, I'm going to try my best to get those guys here because we know they can play, right? They know him. They're familiar with him. He needs to get some of those dudes. Now, he can't take his handprint off the Southeast, but he's got to get some of the dudes. But number one, real quick, I'm going to say a lot of this is Coach Saban's fault. Not intentional. Don't get me wrong here, please. Not intentional, but what we're saying, the GOAT retiring calls somewhat, as I call it, exodus, not in a bad way, but we're saying it. Exodus is what we're saying. Exodus means getting out, leaving. It's not a bad term.
Mass departure.
Mass departure, getting out. Peace.
Yeah,
but that's what we're saying, right?
I hear what you're saying, and I appreciate you trying to frame it like that because if people hear that the wrong way, they might start going. But what you're saying is that does make sense. And ironically, I was just talking to somebody at the gym, and they basically were saying the same thing that you said, right? They've got some ties to some guys and whatnot, but they said that him retiring really caught a lot of guys off guard to the point where they almost felt, I wouldn't say like a slap in the face, but it was kind of like, well, dang, man, like, Coach was telling us he planned on being here, which he did. Again, I don't think he was lying. We heard him in his not his sit down. He talked about that, right? He talked about, him knowing that he wasn't able to be as truthful as he wanted to, knowing moving forward, he didn't know how much longer he had in him, right? So with that being said, I do think some of these younger guys look at it like, man, well, we were thinking that Coach Saban would at least be here for our guys like Caleb and Caden Proctor, probably 3 years. I hate using that because all these kids say freaking 3 to 4 years and maybe 2% of them actually are here 3 years. Anyway, so I think that did catch them off guard. But like you said, it also, Coach Saban he's entitled to that, right? He's put in his work. He doesn't owe anybody anything. And like you said, there's no intentionality with it or anything. He just felt that was the best time for him. He made that decision. And I think really, though, what it boils down to, if we could have somehow had it where we were promoting from within and it was one of those situations, I think the program would have been obviously much more, I hate saying much more stable, because I'm not saying it's not stable right now, but just the fact of the matter is we're seeing a lot of these guys leaving what you're describing. If we promoted from within and there was a lot more familiarity, I think I just heard that, now I don't want to jump the gun, but I think some key pieces, not coaches, but to our program, actually might be being let go as well, which I was totally shocked by that. And I don't want to say anything before I know, but I mean, I know I just saw Evan Van Nostrand, a guy that was a 2-time Purple Heart recipient. He was working with player development, guy that I had classes with. He worked there when I was here. I know him so well.
I like him a lot.
Phenomenal guy. I mean, he's one of the best people you can have in your program. We let that guy go. You tell me we can't find a place for a 2-time Purple Heart recipient, man? I mean, that dude is invaluable to guys in terms of developing them, keeping their head on straight, teaching that proper discipline. So that's the unfortunate thing of this whole situation. Again, I use the word unfortunate because, again, Coach Saban, he deserves to retire. Then we hire somebody. There's going to be shift. There's going to be changes. We know that. But the reality of it does kind of suck, man. We're just being transparent, man. It does.
And that's all I was saying the whole time. And it's like you can sit here and try to paint the sky blue, but let's just be real. Alabama deserved, your fan base, y'all deserve for it to be real. And you have to put some of this fault on Nick Saban. And I wish he would have just took it. I know he wouldn't have liked it, but it almost been better if he just said, hey, you know what, guys? Next year, this has been a grind. I'm going to do it one more year, and I'm done.
But he doesn't owe anybody that, though.
No, I know he doesn't. I'm just saying it's almost better for the program if he did it that way instead of just upping and leaving, because now the next coach, it ain't even fair to the next coach. Because
But people would have already been planning ahead. The recruits would have said, okay, he's leaving after this year. We're going to go ahead and I mean, there still would have been no other way you put it. I mean, it would have been, the GOAT is retired.
Maybe, we don't know that. I'm just saying, but I think I understand from my point of view, we got to go to break, that I think he put him in a bad spot. Not trying to do it purposely, but it did. And we're seeing the evidence of this exodus of guys departing and leaving right now, which is not good. No matter how you try to spin it, it's not good because there's a lot of great football players. Quick timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue this conversation. Get your phone calls, 205-342-9904. What are your thoughts? Should they have promoted within? I mean, wherever you want to go, we can go. We can talk about anything on our program. That's how we roll here on the Miller's Edge. We're on the Tide 100.9. It was the home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports. 12:30 a.m. WTBC. More coming up after the break.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
We are above the freezing mark this afternoon, mostly sunny, the high 36. Tonight fair, not as cold as last night, the low 21. For tomorrow, the sky becoming mostly cloudy, the chance of some light rain by afternoon, the high at 46. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 28 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
Bite my tongue, it's a bad habit.
And welcome back to the Miller's Edge here on the Hump Day, 205-342-9904. Corey Miller, Christian Miller, Noah Haynes here with you on a Wednesday and talking about some of the departures as of today. Of course, the biggest name, Caleb Downs, who is from Georgia. We basically, as Alabama fans, stole him away from Kirby Smart and the Bulldogs. Freshman All-American, over 100 tackles. Last year made all the All-American teams, in my opinion, maybe besides Dallas Turner. I mean, that secondary was loaded. Terry Arnold and Kool-Aid McKinstry himself, Malachi Moore. I still think he's probably the second best player on the defense, even as a true freshman. He is now supposedly entering the transfer portal. Looked like Caden Proctor, a guy that struggled all early on in the year, got better, no doubt about that, but definitely he's going to be a Sunday guy. You can put your money on that one. Look like he may be entering for what things are being said around the program. Let's take some phone calls because we're going to do those early today as well. And, of course, we got your thoughts. If you're on the YouTube Extra, thank you so much for joining us. You can leave your questions there. We'll get to some of those throughout the program. I know Christian is speaking with you during the breaks. as well. So we love the kind of 2-for-1 deal, the blue light special as we got going on here. To the phones we go, Noah. Let's talk to Tommy and Romulus. Tommy, you up next. Go ahead.
Hey, guys. How are you today?
Good, Tommy. How you doing?
All right. I mean, just let the chips fall where they may. I said that on another show. It's never a good time for a coach like Nick Saban to retire. If he did another season, you know what they say? Well, the recruits won't be coming to Alabama because they know Saban won't be there. This is a swan song. Well, you know, if they promote it up, who would you promote it up from inside the ranks? I mean, the only one had any head coaching spirit was a Kevin Steele. He was like 65 years old. So, I mean, we did that with Dubose after Stallings, and that didn't turn out so well.
Well, and the other thing is, imagine this. Imagine, you know, he says, hey, I'm going to stick around one last year just to give everybody a heads up, you know, put people on notice what the game plan is. But he really is not there physically or mentally. They don't have a great season. You're still going to see the same result when he leaves the following year, too, because people are probably like, oh, that's what I said. Like you said, there's no good time for him to retire. Not meaning that he can't retire. I'm not saying he needs to be glued to the job, but meaning like there is going to be, you know, all type of shifts and movements and things to happen. I just felt kind of like a lot of people, I think, feel that, matter of fact, I just saw Tia tweet us kind of looking at like I think Coach K model, right? You know, the way he retired, promoting from within, just kind of keeping things as stable as possible. But again, you know, look, like you also said, let the chips fall where they fall, and that's all you can do, right? And so, do I think we're in like, the worst spot possible? No, I don't think so at all. I definitely think it could have been a little bit cleaner, but I have your approach, Tommy. I'm just going to let the chips fall where they fall, and then just look at it like, hey, we're going to definitely see a lot of new faces, both on the roster and the coaching staff and some of those off-field positions. We'll just have to let it play out and see how it goes. And does it hurt, you know, seeing a lot of familiar faces leave, you know, because I've been a part of the program as a player and, you know, even after playing? Absolutely. But, again, that's part of the process and that's a part of life.
Well, sure. I mean, I just don't want the fan just to get downtrodden. I mean, like, well, he's a scumbag, he's leaving. No, don't do that. No. No, don't be that way. Don't be crass. Show your class. I mean, okay, so what if we have to go 8-4 next year? It ain't the end of the world, okay, people? It's not Armageddon, okay? I mean, kind of take a chill pill or get you a nice whiskey tonic or something and sit by the fire and relax. Don't have an aneurysm over this. Because we have
a whiskey tonic?
Well, whatever.
Hey, I'm sure R&R Cigars has some of that. They got all that bourbon and all those good drinks. So check out R&R Cigars. They'll let you chill out on those recliners. Have a nice drink.
I gotta play dumb. I don't want to, you know, give my secrets away. So don't blow it for me.
No, my bad.
No, I'm talking about your dad. What's whiskey tonic?
Oh, like, there you go.
Yeah, right. You don't know. Never mind. But got me off track again. You're getting to be bad. You're getting to be like Ron Pollard, Courtney.
Oh, me?
Yeah, you're getting me off track. Old people. Don't get old people off track.
I'm sorry, man. Let me bring it down to the youth.
Okay. But,
so you feel like you were in good hands, Tom. You're not really worried about it too much.
No. It's like Ron Pollard pinned me down yesterday. Said, well, give me what you think for next year's season. And I despise that we're patch. I went 10-2, made the playoff. I despise it because I don't want to put unreal expectation on the team. I don't want to put pressure. Let the course work it out. In the next 30 days or 23 days, as you say, we're going to find out.
Well, I think Tommy Christian said something yesterday that makes plenty of sense. I mean, this team is going to look much different. I mean, I think that the thing that people have to understand is that this team is going to be much different, right? It's from a schematic standpoint, from player standpoint. It's going to how they work, how they come out the tunnel. You know, we're so used to seeing Coach Saban in the camera coming down the tunnel, you know, clapping, turning around.
No, don't paint that picture. I'm not ready for all that. I'm not
sorry.
Ready for all that change.
Everything that for 17 years we've been accustomed to. Oh, this is going to change, right? This is a new Alabama. This is what it's going to be, and we might as well get used to it.
I'm going to say this, and I'm going to draw a lot of heat from it. I talk about the process and the step. Like, Wallace Wade gave the torch to Frank Thomas. Frank Thomas passed it on to Brian. We have a few coaches in between, and finally Coach Ryan, the torch got passed to right man Gene Stallings. Now he got passed to Nick Saban. Well, guess what? Nick Saban passed. Now Nick Saban is not the GOAT no more. He's a legend of Alabama football, just like Coach Ryan. He's going to be put up on the wall and everything. Oh, he's a great accomplishment. Now it's Coach KD to build his foundation, his legacy. The new foundations are being laid now. We might go 8-4, and people have a stroke, but you got to take the bitter with the success sometimes.
That's fair.
Well, I mean, we don't know. I mean, the thing is, Tommy, again, none of us know. I mean, we can say what we think the record's going to be. I don't like that game. Who knows?
I don't either.
All we know is going to be different, and you just hope for the best. And hopefully he can start to build something here from the West Coast to the East Coast. And we just got to wait and see. Tommy, thanks for the phone call, my friend.
All right, man. Y'all have a good day. Talk to y'all later.
Have a great day.
Sir.
Let's
Thank
keep
you,
it
Tom.
rolling. 205-342-9904. Let's head down here near me, Ronnie in South Carolina. Ronnie, go right ahead.
Thanks for taking my call, guys. I love your show.
Appreciate
Thank you,
that,
sir.
Ronnie.
I just have a comment with Coach DeBoer's offensive scheme. I feel like with wide receivers in the pass game he has, with the wide receivers running deep and getting, even if they cover or not, that's going to open some lanes for Mill Road, have some long scrambles, and get a lot of yardage on the ground if they're covered up. You agree with that?
I do. I think this offense is predicated. One of the things you heard me say a lot, if my discord, if you will, to Tommy Reese last year, of not devising a scheme that had easy throws right for Jalen Milroe. Like we see it all the time. And I do think with the coordinator, with Kalen DeBoer and this offense, that, and we're watching a lot of Washington football, they know how to get guys. They know how to scheme guys open. I don't want to say get guys open, but scheme guys open. And I think that's going to be good. And this team still have a lot of great pieces. I mean, we still know Justice Hayes is still there.
For now, just
for at least
we know those. I would just be cautious about the young guys. Those are the guys I'm worried about. That's all.
Yeah, but I'm just saying I agree with you because I think he is a good play caller, and I think if you can scheme these guys, we definitely got to upgrade that wide receiver again. But I think they'll get some of those guys, and they might be West Coast guys, but I think you're right in what you're saying.
Okay, one more comment. I feel like they should have a max salary cap for every position on every team and have the same amount of cap for every team in the country. That way it's a playing field. They'll just whoever got the most votes gets the most players.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm pretty sure Coach Saban almost mentioned something similar because that does cause an issue right now. I mean, if one school has all this money to throw at different people and the other school can't match that, it kind of creates disparity in college football. So that's why, we're getting closer and closer to having a contract system. Hell, we brought in, I guess, a general manager already. So, now we might as well get contracts, and guys are going to have to start paying real taxes.
I don't even like that term.
I don't either. Like I said, but that's where we're at. The transfer portal to me feels like free agency. Because that's what
it is.
That's what I'm saying. Because schools, there's no way around it. Schools are using money and NIL to get guys to transfer. It's almost like a signing bonus. That's really what we've come down to.
And Alabama, let's be truthful. Alabama is hurt by Nick Saban's retiring because you open up the portal. Portal closes, they reopen it. And now you said, hey, I got all these beautiful hanging fruits right here, and it's open season again. Right. Hey, everybody in the country, have free will. Go get them. I'll bring back up the money trucks. Hey, bring the Lamborghinis and everything else. And if you want to get Alabama players, they're free right now. So they get punished. Listen, I hate the system as we know it today. I'm not opposed to NIL. Name, image, and likeness. We all can sit together in concert. That means I go to said school. I play my tail off. I work my tail off, and I become popular as a player. Now I can sell my name. I can sell my jersey. I can sell whatever. I can go speak on behalf of your company because your company knows who I am as a player. That's what name, image, and likeness is. That's what everybody said. I love this fact. That it motivates the players to do good in the classroom, on the field, they benefit. But no, Nick Saban told you, if you don't have guardrails, if you just say, hey, you know what? We have no guardrails and we got this transfer portal now. We got all this stuff, but you can't talk to the players. That's the dumbest rule ever, because every coach, every hype, they can go to Mama and them, cousin Ray, and everybody else and say, hey, get this message to so-and-so. We want him, and here's what we got for him. Okay, I'm going to use the burner phone. I'm going to do all these different things. It's cheating, and it's unfortunate. I'm telling you, it is unfortunate that these guys are having deal with this stuff, and schools are having to deal with it, because right now, who got the most money?
Yeah. I have one more question. With these transfers going to these other schools, you got players already there thinking they're going to be starting next year. They're coming in taking their position. I feel like they're going to be jumping in the portal too, and you're going to get some pretty good talent in the portal that's going to be moving on because someone's taking their position by them bringing them in. You agree with that?
Say that one more time. That last part, I missed that.
Caleb Downs, for instance, if he goes to Georgia, you got a guy already in Georgia thinking he's going to be in that position next year. If they bring Caleb Downs in, then that guy may jump in the portal saying, I know I ain't going to get to play because he's got my job.
You're asking, do I agree? Well, absolutely. I mean, I think that's kind of, expected, right? I mean, that's what a lot of guys would probably do if a guy like Caleb Downs is jumping in the program. I mean, you think he's really going to be, quote unquote, competing for a job? I mean, I think that's kind of given, right? Especially what they're probably going to be paying him. But Ronnie, we appreciate the call, man. Yeah, no, that's a great point. That's why it's like a domino effect, just like the coaches, same thing, the players. One guy goes one program, then that guy starts leaving. So it kind of becomes a circus. But Ronnie, we appreciate it. We got to hit a break, run a little bit over. But thank you so much for calling, man. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank y'all.
Yes,
Bye.
sir.
See you, Ronnie.
All right.
Let's go to break. 205-342-9904. Quick timeout. Went a little long that segment, but I'd love to hear what you think. Keep those calls coming in. We got more from South Carolina, Tallahassee, and other places across the beautiful United States. We'll touch base with you after the timeout. Miller's Edge on the Tide, 100.9. Back in a moment.
All right, guys. I want to run the back.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9. Here
on the Tide 100.9. Corey Miller, the pastor of Payne Christian Miller, and Noah Haynes hanging out here with you. Man, that song right there, man, boy, I used to be, before Christian M was born, I used to date their mom. I mean, we used to be in the club with that song, Let's Groove Tonight. I used to be jamming with that song. You remember that, Christian?
You just said before I was born.
I know, but you remember, but I still, like, when y'all was little, though, I used to be like, jamming, showing y'all like
bounce, kind of the shoulder bounce.
Yeah, that bankhead bounce, all that stuff.
Yeah. Don't hurt yourself.
205-342-9904. Our great friend of the show, Goat Tia, says something.
Just call her Tia, man. Just call her Tia.
Well, she's a goat, though. She's a female goat.
Oh, she said goat, but just Tia to make it simple. But
okay, Tia. Oh, Tia, that sounds too proper for her. If you look at some of her exes, you won't just say Tia. You got to call her goat. Because she come hard now. She come hard. But here's the thing. She talked about the transfer of power, right? And she talked about Duke. And when we would put Coach K, even though he doesn't have the number of championships as Nick Saban, but what we say that Coach K in that stratosphere, right, of greatness as a coach. And when he decided to step down, he made sure, and the guy played at Duke, the new coach now, I'm drawing a blank with his name. But he made sure that they were intact, that their program was not going to take a downfall or suffer, because he had remember the whole coaching waiting? Remember when we had Will Muschamp with Mac Brown coaching waiting? Like, I kind of like that, because what you do is you preserve your roster. You preserve everything about your school or about your organization by not having an outsider come in and having to take over.
Right.
And that's why I was saying, has nothing to do with Kalen DeBoer personally. I do believe he's an outstanding individual. If I met him and I went to Malmore, I think he and I would probably hit it off. We probably share some of the same values. I believe that. But I also know that if I'm, as a player, put myself in a situation.
Move your phone off the table. It's buzzing the mic.
Okay. And that you bring in somebody that I have no idea from the other side of the world, so to speak, in this case, the country. And you can all tell me how great of a dude he is and what he's done. I'm just saying to the folks out here, these 18 to 22-year-olds are not buying it because the lack of relationship. And that's the problem. So what Tia was saying was, and I agree, and somebody was saying this to us, Christian, they wish they would have hired from within, even if it had been Tommy Reese. I mean, I'm just saying. And when people laugh at me, but I know Lane Kiffin wasn't going to get the job. I knew what was going on. I knew all that stuff. But I was saying to you, it made sense from the standpoint of at least the familiarity of coaching, recruiting, locker room, going forward, staying out. My exact word, staying here at the top and continuing to play at a high level. I knew they weren't going to do it, but I was saying it made the most sense. Even Dabo Swinney. It made the most sense because the familiarity of all those things that I just said. And that's what Tia was saying. Even though Dabo wasn't on staff, still, those guys know who Dabo Swinney is.
Right.
He recruited because they recruit the same players, right? You bring in somebody different, you're going to have a fall of grace. And then that's why I said I'm not shocked. And it had nothing to do with Kalen DeBoer. It has everything to do with Nick Saban, how he left. It hurt the program. Say what you want. It did.
It would have. I think it would have been like that regardless, though. But
it did. But we know that it did.
Well, I will say this though. I agree with all that, but he was, in my opinion, trying to follow that model at some point. At least in my opinion, I believe if Kirby never took, and I think this is everybody probably knows this, if Kirby never took the Georgia job, Kirby stayed as a defensive, Kirby would have been promoted to head coach probably, right? You know, I feel like he was trying to find someone like that, but the issue was every year we were replacing coordinators. That wasn't really an option. That's what I'm saying. Like, it really boils down to this was the only option given the circumstances. We've had so much coaching turnover, we can't even retain a coordinator for over 2 years, it seems like, right? So would you just promote a position coach? I mean, Tommy Reese is too young. I mean, he's only been an offensive coordinator for a handful of years, if that. And I know everybody, got on him a little pretty critical, but again, he's still young. He's 31. He's a good football coach. He's going to continue to develop as a coach, and he'll be a great coach, maybe even a head coach someday. But just now was not the right time, in my opinion. But I do think, we're all in agreement that finding somebody with some type of roots, whether it's the Coach Saban's coaching tree, the SEC, that would have been a better scenario to keep this roster intact. But I think regardless, players would have left. Now, I think it's just trying to manage that capacity, how many, where like limit the bleeding, so to speak, right? I think, the young guys, in my opinion, they, in their heads, were saying, hey, I want to come here to, let's just face it, man. They come here to play at Alabama for Alabama, but the biggest reason for a lot of those guys was Coach Saban, especially the DBs. I'll even go as far as saying a lot of guys left because T-Rob left, but also Coach Saban was one of the I don't know if he was either more so of a reason or about the same. But cause you think about it, on the practice field, again, I was here 5 years, if people didn't know, Coach Saban works directly with the DBs, specifically the cornerbacks. So a lot of guys come here thinking, hey, I'm going to be, at least DBs come here saying, hey, I'm going to be coached by Coach Saban specifically. And once he leaves, it's different. I mean, even at other positions, I'm just going to be honest with you. Like when I came here, I wanted to be coached by Coach Saban. Now, he was a lot younger then. I didn't anticipate him leaving. Now, in my head, I was like, if he happened to leave or retire, I'd probably be fine. But a lot of guys don't think like that. I'm okay here in Alabama. People might be offended when I say this, and I hope you're not, because I love Alabama. I love to hunt. I'm a big outdoorsman. I fit in great, right? But the reality is a lot of these guys that come here, there's not much for them here, right? They really specifically only come here for football and Coach Saban. And so once you take Coach Saban away from the program, there's a lot of uncertainty on how these things are going to look. And they don't have as much to do around Tuscaloosa. So, again, when these other schools start calling and there's a lot of things involved, whether there's familiarity on the coaching staff, money is involved, there's teammates that they have that might be at other programs, that happens to come into play. So, again, I think no matter how you spin it, unfortunately, there is going to be a lot of and I hate to even use the word chaos because I wouldn't call it chaotic, but it was going to be, quite the hectic transition just because we didn't have the opportunity for that model that Tia presented, which I think, again, would have been the best situation. But
I agree with that. I mean, I think if you'd have, and I wanted to ask you folks before I go back to the phones, is that did Saban stay a little longer than he should have? Because that might have been the reason. Because we've seen, he talked about the grind. Let's be honest. He said he had to grind more because maybe he didn't have the confidence in the staff that he had here at Alabama. He didn't have those dudes that are now head coaches. So he's got all these head coaches in college football, but they can't get one for their own. That's one of their own people, which I think is sad, which makes me think, well, maybe he stayed a little bit too long. 205-342-9904, excuse me. Let's go to Turner. Turner's also in South Carolina. Turner, welcome in.
Hey, guys, how are y'all?
Hey, Turner.
What's up, Turner?
Oh, not much. Just driving through Charlotte right now. But, hey, Corey, were your ears ringing Saturday evening by chance?
Well, I got that tinnitus. They ring a lot, but probably.
me and my buddies were pouring bourbon and smoking cigars, and your name came up. We were talking about you a little bit.
Oh, man, yeah. Well, I had through doctor's order since I had the stroke, 7 weeks ago. Cigars is kind of like, that's been 7 weeks going without a cigar, man.
I got you. Well, heal up, man. Maybe on down the line you can have one.
Yeah, down the line. I just got to get back right. Got to get back right.
That's right. That's right. In regards to Saban retiring, I mean, he even said it in his interview. There's not a good time to retire. And I agree. I'm going to stand for Christian. No matter if he gave a year in advance or did it like he did it, people are going to defect and leave. Another thing is that anytime Alabama has gone outside the quote-unquote tree, they've actually done better. Coach Dennis Francione had some decent years. Even though Stallings was, he was a Texas A&M, Bear Bryant boy, he was kind of outside the organization. DeBose was a failure. Who else? Mike Shula, God bless him. I think he was just there to clean up the image of Alabama at the time. He had one year that was good. Bill Curry was outside the organization. He won 10 games every year, couldn't beat Auburn, so they let him go. Saban outside the organization, that's enough said right there. So Coach K, I think as fans, as Alabama fans, we just got to let him do his coaching staff and do his thing. His offense, like y'all have said, is going to look different than Saban's. His defense will probably look different than Saban's. But I think when he gets his players in, and he'll get them just because of the Alabama brand, there are going to be some boys that want to play football, that are good football players, that are going to go to Alabama.
Right.
That's going to happen. And then I think the last and final point is Nick Saban retiring is what we're going to see when big-name coaches either change jobs or retire. So, for example, if Harbaugh goes to the NFL and Kelly leaves LSU to go to Michigan, let's just put that hypothetical scenario together, the same thing is going to happen to them that's happening in Tuscaloosa right now. They're going to get cherry-picked. Coaches are going to leave. Kids are going to leave. And the new coach is going to have to do the same thing. So I hate to see Saban go, but he deserved it. Man, I enjoyed the years under Saban. I'm glad my son got to go to Atlanta with me this past year. That was his first time going to see the GOAT play, and he got to see a Saban coach football team. But that's all I want to say. Those were my thoughts, guys, and I'll shut up and listen to you.
All right, brother Turner, we love you, man. We appreciate you. Be safe on I-77 or 74 or wherever you are up there in North Carolina. Be safe out there, brother. All right, we got to hit a quick break. Come back. We get right back to your phone calls. We got some app messages. Don't forget to download Tide 100.9. It's absolutely free. And you can ask questions there, leave a comment as well. We see you there on live. Keep them coming in. Tons of you got a ton of questions, a ton of messages, man. I wish we would need like a 24-hour show to get to all of these, but believe us, we're reading them, and we'll talk about a lot of them here on the program. This is the Miller's Edge on the Tide 100.9. We're the home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports. Quick time out. Back on the flip side.
On the next Inside the Locker Room with Coach Wimp Sanderson and Barry Sanderson.
Tune in Thursday, 7:30. We'll have JC Sherman. We'll get JC's opinion on Coach DeBoer. We'll also look at the transfer portal with JC and recruiting. In the second hour, Bucky McMillan with Sanford off to a 16-2 start. He'll join us on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
Inside the Locker Room, weekdays 7 to 9 a.m. on Tide 100.9 and Tide100.9.com.
The ultimate Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
We are above the freezing mark this afternoon, mostly sunny, the high 36. Tonight fair, not as cold as last night, the low 21. For tomorrow, the sky becoming mostly cloudy, the chance of some light rain by afternoon, the high at 46. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 28 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
Walking paradox. No, I'm not. Threesomes with a
Final segment before the top of the hour break. Here, a lot of good conversation going on. Of course, if you've been on a rock or had no Wi-Fi or no service, you probably know that, or wouldn't have known that Caleb Downs has entered the transfer portal, which has caused a major reaction throughout the Alabama Crimson Tide fan base. Not really shocking, but it is what it is. Let's do this real quick. Noah, the best reader in West Alabama for sure, but I think he's the best reader in Alabama. You got a couple of app messages. Let's get to some of those before we do a super chat.
Yeah, that's right. We got an app message from Junior. He says, I believe Nick Saban needs to be commissioner over college football. NIL and the portal has got to be regulated. Bama football is being stripped like a stolen car.
Hey, you haven't seen one of those? Okay, I had my Jeep stripped in New Jersey. I was staying with my friend, my teammate, and I had a little Jeep, no, it was a little Blazer, man, and they stripped that thing and no seats in it, no tires, no radio. It just had like the shell of the car. So basically what he's saying is Alabama's a shell of a car.
No, he was just, I guess he kind of is saying it's getting to he's saying the transfer portal is making programs like that. I mean, that's an interesting reference. That's funny, though. I'll say this, though. I think Coach Saban did reference that in his sit-down, that he wouldn't mind helping out and assisting with coming up with some legislation or parameters for some of this stuff, some guidelines. I think he'd be phenomenal at it. He clearly is, a pioneer when it comes to a lot of things, college football, heck, even off the field related. So I hope he does do something like that, because if you don't listen to anybody about these types of issues, you're obviously going to listen to the greatest coach of all time. So I think that's a great point.
No, I think he'd be great as a commissioner, and they got to do something, guys. And we'll talk about this hour number 2. They have to do something about what's happening with college football right now, because it's driving many people, not just myself, nuts. Give us another one there, Mr. Reader.
Yes, we have a short one from Hick in Southside. He says, Milroe will be gone after spring ball. He's calling it now.
Listen, There's a lot of questions surfacing. There are a lot of questions surfacing saying that Milroe will not fit in Kalen DeBoer's offense, and that he's going to ask him to do, and he said it, not my words, but Kalen DeBoer's words. The quarterback position, they're asked to do a lot.
He did also.
And to make a lot of decisions. I'm just saying, I don't like what Barrett Solis said to my good friend Brian Fowler in the game. And he basically said that those other quarterbacks, which I hate when people do this. Now, I'm just telling you right now, I hate it. Because you basically question a man's acumen. When Barrett Lee of CBS Sports said that he didn't think Jalen Milroe could comprehend and be that guy based on the acumen part of it, and that, these other quarterbacks, even Lonergan and all these other guys, Ty Simpson, were better equipped. And I take offense to that because neither one of them dudes has done anything. And we talking about we got a guy that's the number one guy in the betting to win the Heisman next year. So, I disagree with that. I think he might be a better quarterback because Kalen Boyd is a quarterback coach, and I think they can get him to that next level. And all we got to do is look at Jalen Hurts, not this year, not after 11 games, but
down the line.
Before that, he was pretty good.
Well, I will say, though, the other thing Coach DeBoer said is they're going to basically mold their scheme to their personnel, which I really like that. You and I think you should like that quote, because you always talk about if a coach is not playing to his players' strengths, then he's being ignorant pretty much. So it sounds like, he's not afraid to adapt with Jalen Milroe either. So I think I'm intrigued by what they can do together. I mean, I don't take the approach they won't fit. Now, only thing I'll say about the Barrett Lee comment, I get coming from him how it definitely might sound away, but let's be honest. I mean, you and I both have even said Jalen Milroe does need to improve on his ability to scan the field, go through his reads, go through his progressions a little bit quicker, not hold the ball so long, even pre-snap, have a little bit more awareness. If you see guys loading the box, they're about to bring, a zero blitz. You got to know where your hot guy is. You got to be able to get the ball out quick. Just basically diagnosing things a little bit faster. I mean, I'm not trying to attack him or anything. That's just me just giving my football, advice.
But I also think that's the kind of coaching he was under too. I think coaches can devise a scheme that helps them scan and helps them to be a quick thinker.
They did.
Help him get the ball out faster.
Which they did. Tommy Rees actually did change a lot of things in the offense to help him have less decisions to make. However, that's not necessarily improving his ability to make those decisions. It's just giving him less decisions. I still think he can improve in that category. It's just, but again, there's so many different examples. Then you look at C.J. Stroud. People made fun of him and mocked him for not scoring high on the Wonderlic and all these things. And the guy's doing just fine in the National Football League, arguably the best rookie right now, right? So, I mean,
ain't no arguably. He is. I mean, he's great. I mean, he's doing a great. I mean, he's doing a great job. Listen, guys, we got a loaded show. And we want to talk to you. We got people all over. It's on the phone line. I don't want you to hang up. Stay right there because we're going to take those right out the gate in a second now. But go ahead and get this super chat. Christian, go ahead and knock that out.
Yeah, we've got a super chat, ironically, from Christian. So appreciate that over on our YouTube stream again, at The Miller's Edge on YouTube. He says, any chances Coach Saban can help convince some of these guys to stay? It's a really good point. And I think that was part of the plan when they announced that Coach Saban would be around, have his office here. I think they did that with the intentions of, hey, don't leave, guys, or don't worry, Coach Saban's still here. He's still around the program. He's not necessarily fully leaving. He's not going to be the head coach, but he's going to be around. And I think they were hoping that at least putting that out there in the media would help. And I'm sure Coach Saban could personally try to call guys. I would not be shocked if he did, call guys personally, Caleb Downs, Malachi Moore, guys on the team.
He better be calling Caden Proctor because ESPN just released they're reporting right now Caden Proctor is in the transfer portal for Alabama. So
yeah, we said that at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, we did. We thought that was going to happen, but you know how people if they got to hear it from like Chris Lowe, we don't really they don't trust that.
That's true. But I will say this though, I think he's probably heavily considering going back home again. That's what I'm saying. Like I think there's a lot of factors. Some guys are just looking at it. So, if I'm not going to be coached by Coach Saban, I still got 2 years left of eligibility. I'd rather go somewhere that's a little more familiar. I mean, but to answer your question, Christian, I think Coach Saban can help assist in that. To what degree, I don't know. I mean, he just retired, so I highly doubt he wants to sit on his phone and call hundreds of recruits, which I don't know if you saw this. There was a recruit, I think somebody had him as like a 5-star, but maybe like a 4-star, borderline 5-star linebacker that decommitted, and he said it was because of a lack of communication. And which
that's not good.
That's not good. But I will say a lot of people were like, well, give the coaches time. They just got here. That's true. But I also will say we have so many people in the recruiting department that half the time it's not just coaches talking to these kids. You have so many people on staff. And I get there's changes being made, but you've got to do your best to reach out to as many of these kids as possible because they want to hear, especially in a time like this, they want to know, hey, what's going on? Who the coach going to be?
Tweeting. Now listen, a lot of these kids, as you know, they talk on messages, app messages, Twitter, X messages. You can get a kid So you got a general manager, for God's sakes. You got a GM.
Which I think he's working.
What is he doing?
He was offering. Relax, man. Don't jump on people like that. You don't know. I mean, I just saw he's offering guys. The only problem is I saw he's offering guys straight from the West Coast, which we get. Listen, those are the guys they've been studying. They've been recruiting, so that makes sense. But I will say, though, they need to move swiftly on getting to know these guys down south and in the Southeast area, which I'm sure they're doing.
I'm going to get me a driver, and I need to get to Tuscaloosa, and I need to come into this office and have a come-to-Jesus meeting with Kalen DeBoer and that staff. And I can tell you right now, if they're going to win and have success at where that script A is, they better get their butts on the ball. Because when a recruit says this is not just saying, a recruit said this. Not me, not you, not anybody else. Communication isn't good. That is not a good sign. We'll talk more about it. If you're online, stay right there.
I should have never said that because I knew he was going to eat that one up.
No, I seen it already, dude. I'm on this stuff. I was going to bring it up, but I'm trying to be nicer because you think I'm hard sometimes. But since you brought it up, it's free game. All right, this is the Miller's Edge. Top of the hour break coming up, baby. Let's get this thing popping. YouTube extra, I want to go over 200 today live. Let's go. Tell your friends because I got some good stuff, and I'm going to tell you how to change this thing around and how to have success in Alabama. That's coming up after the top hour break. This is The Edge. We'll be back here on the Tide 100.9, 12:30 a.m. WTBC. Back in a moment.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Nick Cope.
New Patriots coach Gerard Mayo was formally introduced today, and he's not trying to mimic his predecessor.
For me, I'm not trying to be Bill. Bill is his own man. If you can't tell by now, I'm a little bit different even up here.
Owner Robert Kraft said Mayo was clearly the guy for the job.
Football is Gerard's true passion, and I believe coaching was always his destiny. His credentials garner respect, and he relates beautifully to the players.
The Cleveland Browns have fired offensive coordinator Alex Van Pelt, as well as a pair of offensive assistants. The NBA has postponed tonight's Warriors-Jazz game in Salt Lake City after Golden State assistant coach Dejan Milijovic was hospitalized Tuesday night after suffering a medical emergency at a team dinner. The team does not have an update on his condition at this time. And reports say Alabama freshman All-American safety Caleb Downs has entered the transfer portal.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome into this second hour of the Miller's Edge. I'm looking at my dad. I think he's trying to figure something out. But we are back for our second hour. Had a nice first hour where we discussed a lot of things. We talked about all the big news, right, that a lot of people are talking about right now. If you're an Alabama fan, probably the biggest one so far is Caleb Downs deciding to enter the transfer portal. Not long after that, looks like Caden Proctor decided to follow suit. So two of your young staple pieces to this football team have decided to enter the transfer portal. We can continue to talk about that and more right here in the second hour. Again, we are live on our YouTube podcast, so go check us out there at the Miller's Edge, or listen to us as you're probably listening now on the Tide app or FM Tide 100.9. We appreciate that, guys. Again, we are presented by the Good Feet Store, America's art support experts. Go check them out now in Midtown Village in Tuscaloosa, or go to goodfeet.com to schedule an appointment. Again, that's Good Feet, improving the quality of people's lives 2 feet at a time. Somebody saying Corey's making second half adjustments. He's getting right, man. Again, we're getting used to this second hour, man. We love it, man. We're in it. Again, if you just are tuning in.
Well, I had to type some stuff. I had to do some on the other
Lord.
computer. So I got several computers going on.
He's learning this tech, man. I'm proud of him.
I'm multitasking. I'm learning.
He's getting there. I respect that. All right. Let's see. I forgot. Where are we about to start with? I think we just
did. You get the number 205-342-9904?
Yeah, 205-342-9904.
You did your read. You're good to go. So let's pick back up. We were talking about, of course, transfer portal. We talked a lot about Caleb Downs. Now ESPN reporting, we told you at the beginning of the show, Caden Proctor, who was an overall number one offensive tackle for Alabama out of Iowa. He was committed to Iowa, remember? Then they got him to decommit to come to Alabama, struggled early on in the season. Was getting beat pretty bad. His feet weren't good. I mean,
freshman growing pains.
Yeah, speed rushing. I mean, it's just very simple. The speed rushing gave him a problem. But to his credit, he got much better throughout the season. Struggled some in the Rose Bowl, but he got much better during the season. And credit that to Eric Wolford, who's not going to be back, will not be retained, but he did get better. We do want to take some calls. We got a lot of messages. So today is Wednesday, hump day. We're going to do a lot of that. So let's get back out to the phone line. Let's go to Tyler. Let's go down to the ATL. Bump, 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 bump. Hey, Let's go.
Whoa. What was that?
That's Tyler in Atlanta. Tyler in Atlanta Thieves. What's up, man?
Oh, there it is. What's up, Tyler?
Not much, man. Appreciate the call yesterday. Same person from yesterday. Really don't know where to start, but I do want to start with Goat Tia's comments and Coach Miller, your comments about succession plan. I think Saban, I think he had it figured out, man. And I think outside of Kirby, just being young and Saban still in his prime in coaching, outside of him being, moving on and being let go, whatever. But I think Saban actually regrets Sark being let go the most to another opportunity. I think Saban actually had the succession plan in place when he found Sark. I think he just was really pleased with Sark's discipline, his approach, his mind, the respect the players had for him. But I think Saban, coming off a championship, just had too much juice left in the tank. And there have been reports out there that said Saban said, no, don't take the Texas job. I'll work with Greg Byrne. We'll write you a new contract, put you as coach in waiting. But as you know, Texas is a top 5 job in America. You got that oil money behind you. So it was really hard for Sark to kind of turn it down, and I don't blame him because, at the time, Saban was probably 69, 70. Who knows? I could be coaching waiting for the next 5 to 6 years. And I think Sark just saw this opportunity at Texas, and, he couldn't turn it down. But I do think, though, he had the succession plan in place. And I'll just stop there with my first comment.
Well, Sark would have been excellent. Let's just be honest with he would have been the perfect candidate to succeed, as you said, in my opinion. But you're at Texas. I mean, you're in Austin. And as great as Alabama is, and as great as they have been in the past, right, with all the championships and Nick Saban, the GOAT, you're at Texas with an opportunity to do great things. With the school hasn't done nothing in a long time, which he got them to basically the playoffs. And so now, running after him is going to be tough because, one, they got more money to match anything you want to do.
Ooh, and I think oil money.
Yeah, and I think he's so loyal to his guys. And that's what I'm saying. He's young. He's bringing guys there, transfer portal, and then high school recruiting. And, why wouldn't he? Because the pressure that's going to come along with following the GOAT, he understood that. And so he's got the best opportunity coming off a very phenomenal football season in which he beat the GOAT. So therefore he's not going to move. But that to me, I talked about Lane Kiffin. I know that was a long shot, and I know that was going to happen. But Sharp would have been like the home run. If I could have said that's a home run hire if they'd have hired somebody like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And my second thing was, I'm kind of worried, man. I'm worried, even though I understand the context of the situation. Coach DeBoer just got there, and he needs to get his sea legs under him. But I'm worried, like I said yesterday, man. And just him knowing how to move in the SEC, having that savviness, that kind of cutthroat personality about yourself. I'm worried, because it's reports that we're about to lose Keon Keeley, Quay Russaw, James Smith, and possibly Justice Haynes. And so, I'm worried. It's been a couple team meetings. I know the NIL, some of the guys are just leaving strictly for the money, but I do think that there are some guys who, big-time guys, I'm like, what? Are they not being sold? Are they not convincing? I think this is kind of telling, man. We're going to have to kind of keep our eyes on this over the next couple of years because, we want this excellent, quote, quote, all-star home run hire coaching staff. We need these guys to be able to go in the living rooms, to be able to recruit the next Will Andersons, the Caleb Downs, the Reuben Fosters, the Minka Fitzpatricks, to be able to flip, have some surprise 5-star flips on signing days, and I know only time will tell, but, this is what it takes to win at Alabama, just like Coach was saying earlier. All these West Coast guys is cool. One of the first things I would have did, even though it might have been unorthodox, I would have came out on my Twitter and a press conference. I would have said, hey, you got an offer from Saban, your offer's still good with me. If you're good enough to play for Saban, you're good enough to play for me. We'll be in contact with you and your families within the next week, 1 to 2 weeks. You got to know how to move, man. In the SEC, this is big business. And I just don't know if Coach DeBoer knows how to move. I think he's learning, and I pray that he learns and understands that you got to know how to move, and he needs to equip himself, and from a mindset standpoint, from an approach standpoint, to be successful in the SEC. That's all Bama fans can really hope for at this point, is that he's learning. Hey, missed out, maybe misjudged, mismanaged the T-Route situation. Maybe shouldn't do that again. I just think that, but I think it's something we need to keep our eyes on, man, especially on the recruiting trail,
Well, I can answer that first point to you about those guys wanting to leave. And you said it, right? Some guys are probably chasing the money, that opportunity is there. But I also think some guys, I'll be honest, I do believe Isaiah Bond just thinks he might be in a better situation or a better fit at Texas. You guys might not agree because you're saying, oh, well, look at Coach DeBoer, look at Washington, look at Coach. Again, those guys aren't necessarily too familiar with all that. They're familiar with Sark. They're familiar with Quinn Ewers and what they've done. They played them. They understand that. I do think, it's a combination of those two things. But for these young guys, I'm telling you right now, Tyler, they're leaving because they signed up. They wanted to come to Alabama because of Coach Saban, right? Like, these are young. You got to remember, these guys are young. They don't remember as much. Right. Like, they probably remember my class because I'm not that old. But some of the true guys that really lay the foundation here, they probably really weren't even watching Alabama at that point, right? So as much as we know about the brand and the tradition here, these guys, not so much. They just know Coach Saban. So as soon as he left, I'm telling you right now, what's going through their mind is, well, do we want to stay around here? I mean, with Coach Saban, we knew we were going to contend for national championships. I'm not saying Coach DeBoer can't do that, but I'm telling you the way these guys think. There was a lot more security and stability with Coach Saban. It didn't matter, like my dad said earlier, if the coordinators left. As long as Coach Saban was here, they knew things would roughly be similar. Now that he's gone, it's like, hey, we still got 2 years of eligibility left. Do we want to stick around here and see how things pan out and be coached by some of these coaches who, again, are probably great coaches, but they're not necessarily proven just yet, like on this SEC level. So they have the opportunity to go somewhere where they're recruited by guys like, for instance, like my second choice was Georgia. It was neck and neck between Alabama and Georgia. I'll be honest, if I was a true freshman, I signed up to come here and Coach Saban left after 1 year. Everybody cleared house and things were totally different. I had some of my friends from the recruiting process that were at Georgia. I knew all the coaches there. And then on top of all that, they're saying, hey, we'll even give you all this money. I'd be lying if I said I wouldn't consider that. That's just the truth. You know what I mean? And I think that's what these guys are thinking.
You've been doing more than considering that. You be like, hey, my direct deposit or my cash app. I'll be like, hey, and here's mine too, because I'm going to be doing some convincing too. Because, like, listen, man, it is what it is. I mean, we don't like it. I don't like it. It's not right. It's not right for football. It's not right for amateurism sports. I mean, something has to be done. It really does. We laugh and joke about it, but honestly, it's not right, man. I mean, this roster is getting plucked by Kirby Smart and others.
Texas, Florida State. Florida State.
These teams are loaded, and they are getting more loaded, right? And they're basically trying to buy the championship. That's what's happening. And that's not fair to anybody else in college football. Man, Tyler, thank you for the phone call. Keep it real in the ATL, my friend.
All right, brother.
Yes, sir.
Right,
thank you, Tyler.
We got to hit a break. We'll come back more. You call. We still got people lined up, Ellis and others. We see you right there. We got more messages. I'm just, it's kind of baffling to me. It really is what's happening to this roster. How do you save it? I think I got somewhat of an answer. At least help. I'll talk about that on the flip side of the break. We see those coming in on the YouTube chat there. We'll hit some of those too before the end of the show. 205-342-9904. Download that free app, Tide 100.9. We'll be back in a moment.
I'm embarrassed to say this.
At 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
We are above the freezing mark this afternoon, mostly sunny, the high 36. Tonight fair, not as cold as last night, the low 21. For tomorrow, the sky becoming mostly cloudy, the chance of some light rain by afternoon, the high at 46. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 32 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back to Miller's Edge. I'm giving me a little party. I hope y'all don't mind. You can't see me if you're on the air, on the app, because I do my little dancing. My man Noah, you are doing your thing today, baby.
He's currently taking care of callers, but he gave you the salute. He said thank you.
Yeah. He doing his thing today, man. I love that. Could this be love? In case you're just not joining us here on the app, YouTube Extra, or on the app Tide 100.9, or on air live, Tide 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC. We talked about in the first hour, of course, all the transfers and all that. One thing I said, I talked about, I felt like a lot of it was on Coach Saban, Nick Saban's fault, how he left, not knowingly that this is going to be the result. Didn't do it purposely, so I don't want y'all to misconstrue what I'm saying. But the reality is how he retired has caused this. I think a lot of it, my opinion. I said that the first hour. We talked about we're not blaming the kids. We've been saying that from day one. A lot of you are shooting the kids down. I mean, you can't blame them. I mean, it's easy for you to say as a fan, for us to say, let me put myself in that, to say, hey, you don't want to compete or you're chasing a bag. Well, probably. But you can't blame them. I mean, and you don't understand what they're going through. A lot of them are from different areas, different parts of the world. Cade Proctor from Iowa. I mean, he changed to come here. I mean, we got him at the kind of the fourth quarter, so to speak. So, listen, it is what it is. We don't like what college football is becoming. I think something has to be done, and it needs to be done fast. I work for and with the collective. Carolina Rise, look it up. It's here at Gamecocks. That's what I do. I do functions. I do events. I do different things to help raise money because I understand the importance of it, but we try to do things the right way, right? But we don't have to like it. I think Greg Byrne even said, you don't have to like it, but the reality is you got to be able to participate in it if you want to at least have a chance. Alabama, NIL-wise, is not Texas. It's not Texas A&M. It's not Ohio State. It's not Tennessee. These people got a lot of money. And you got people that are starving. Alabama's been winning. It's become comfortable. It becomes, it's just what it is. It's the norm.
Well,
right?
Well, only thing I will say to that is I don't know if it's a matter of us not having the money. I think we were able to get away with not paying as much because we were selling people on the fact that, hey, we have Coach Saban, so we're not going to offer you quite as much. But this experience of being coached by the best coach ever is invaluable. Now that you don't have the luxury of offering that anymore, now you really are going to have to start competing monetarily, at least for some time until these coaches can come in and put themselves.
But my second point to that was just that, right? Alabama is not those schools that I've just mentioned. They don't have that money. They don't. Alabama got a problem.
I mean, I don't know. Is there a way to Google it? I really don't know.
Well, I can tell you I work in the space. When that stuff is out there, when you're talking about collectives and things like that, Alabama is not one of your top collectives. I appreciate what Aaron Suttles is doing. I know what he's doing. That's why he's out here making video. That's why what did Aaron Suttles do right after the Rose Bowl? I mean, he probably went to the bathroom and shot when Alabama lost, he probably went to the bathroom like, hey, Alabama, this is Aaron Suttles. Listen, if you don't want to see your offensive line get beat up like this, you don't want to then you need to join and give your $25, whatever it is, right? He did it right after the game. Because that's the world and the culture that we live in as it pertains to college sports. Now, my second point to that, Chris, is they don't have that cash. But here's the thing. They don't have the GOAT. So you don't have the cash. You don't have the GOAT. You can't sit here and sell a kid on, hey, every couple of years until this year, every 2 years, if you played for Nick Saban, you know what you did? You hoisted that Dr. Pepper trophy.
Right.
That was for a long time. That was a promise that you can just write it and etch it in stone.
Well, it was a fact. I mean, everybody that was signed to Coach Saban had won a national championship.
Right. You were going to win a natty. You're going to win SECs.
Like, literally,
you're going to get
statistically.
rings. Yeah, so now that goes out the door. Here's my point to you. These kids know nothing about the overall history of Alabama. They know Nick Saban. Let me say it again for you. We'd say that and we talk about a lot of the folks that listen to this show that's been fans. I applaud you and I appreciate you because I get it here at South Carolina. They've been fans for heartache and pain for a lot of years. I understand. And I love those fans and I applaud those fans. But the reality of it, these kids that's playing ball today, they don't know about Bear Bryant. They don't know about any of these other coaches. They know about, all they know is Nick Saban. Now he's gone. They don't know about Kalen DeBoer. They don't know about who you hired from, Coach Womack from South Alabama. They don't even know that much because he can't recruit them. They don't know about the coach that they just signed, the other defensive coordinator from Buffalo. You can say, he coached 1 year at Dallas and did they don't know him because he's been coaching. He probably ain't recruiting. Now, he might have. He was at a couple SEC schools. But they don't know anything but Coach Saban, Christian. That's all they know. Now he's gone. And now you expect a guy from all the way to the uttermost parts of the world to come down here, right? Well, they got I love Seattle. I love the fish. You catch the fish, man. You throw the fish. You do all that good stuff. When I went up there and I was playing Seattle, great. My college roommate lives there on the Lake Seattle, whatever it's called. Beautiful. But the thing is, these kids down here, they can care less, bro.
Yeah.
And that's the problem why I say it's going to take a while because, who knows what the record's going to be? I hope he win all of them. But the reality is he might lose 4 of them. Then the schedule's not easy, but the fans shouldn't give up on him because I think he'll figure it out and end up getting his kind of kids and build relationships along the way, Christian, and he'll probably be okay down the road. But this is just going to be, to me, a tough going in the initial.
Oh, no, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I mean, we're going to go through some growing pains, and that's why I was saying earlier in the show, I think as we go down this path of losing more of our key pieces, we're kind of getting to that rebuild territory. Now, when I say rebuild, I'm not saying, we're going to only win a handful of games. Not in that stretch, but things are going to really look a lot different. But I will say this before I get to the Super Chat. I do feel that this is going to end up being an example of how an example of why things need to shift and change in terms of this whole portal and all this stuff, because this honestly, man, I feel like right now people are kicking us while we're down. And it's really unfortunate, man. I mean, again, Coach Saban deserves to retire and do all that, but I understand having a window because kids deserve that opportunity to explore that. But I mean, it really is just unfortunate that, these other schools, man, everybody's they're kicking us while they're down, and all these other people are just plotting. They're rubbing their hands, like you said earlier. They're going after all that fruit that's just hanging there for everybody, just waiting to pick it. But real quick, we got a super chat from Coach West, who's been hanging out with us past several days. He says, "Does DeBoer know how to do the cha-cha slide or electric slide? Because Coach Saban could do them all. He better know how to connect." Or Coach Saban knew how to connect. Oh, look, I see, and if you're on the podcast, you can see my dad doing, looks like the tango, or I don't know what he's doing. He's dancing, though. It looks like he must be feeling better. He had those health issues not too long ago, but he's up and feeling better than ever, it looks like. Look, here's the thing. Coach Saban was smooth. And that, look, man, those are staples of Alabama and their recruiting. Like, the parents, they'd have all the parents. You guys have seen the videos of Coach Saban doing all the line dancing and whatnot at his house. They're playing cards. Sed's doing karaoke. Like, those type of tactics,
Sed was number one with the karaoke, though.
Oh, Sed's the guy, man. Sed is those things, man. Those were huge for our recruiting. But again,
I miss those days. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Oh no, they're great, and I'm sure a lot of these kids are probably thinking that stuff, man. A lot of that's going to be different now. But here's the thing, like you said, I think Coach DeBoer will get in here and adjust And it's just a matter of how quickly he can do that, because he really's got his work cut out for him right now, which we'll continue to talk about. We got to take another timeout. You're listening to the Miller's Edge right here on Tide 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC. Also on our YouTube channel if you're tuning in there, so we appreciate that. Got to remind you about our good friends over at Alumni Hall. If you're local here in Tuscaloosa, head on over to Alumni Hall for the latest and greatest officially licensed Alabama gear. Guys, it's freezing outside. Go get you some nice Alabama jackets, hoodies, sweatshirts. They've got hats on a hat wall. They've got Peter Millar products, Yeti products, you name it. Great deals, 2 for 38 tees. If you're not local, no worries, guys. You can always go to the website, alumnihall.com, and check them out there. Again, that is Alumni Hall. We're going to take a quick time out. Going to get to...
I'm not dancing because of your demise. Like, come on.
Oh, see, they're trying to pick on you.
Hey, listen, you got to find, the Bible said laughter is like medicine.
That's right.
Right? Good for the soul. That's all I'm doing.
That's right. That's right. We're going to take a quick time out, then we'll get back to more of your calls. We got Pat has been waiting so patiently. I owe him a hat now. He's been waiting over an hour, so we're going to try to get
And Ellis got 2 hats.
Yeah, well, we gave Ellis his hats. He supported us at the Papa's. Hey, but all right, here we go. We're going to take a quick time out, then we're going to hit Pat. Listen to the Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC. We'll be right back.
Weekday mornings at 6 a.m. The Martin Houston Show.
This is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, powered by Max Sports. I know it's early, but it's worth to get up 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. every day, Monday through Friday. This Thursday, we'll be talking true, false. Is college football broken beyond repair? We'll also have some recruiting conversation, and we'll definitely keep our eyes and ears open to see what Coach Kalen DeBoer does next with his coaching staff and recruiting his current roster. Those conversations and more right here on your home for Alabama Sports, Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC.
Catch the Martin Houston Show from 6 to 7 weekday mornings on Tide 100.9. Don't be. This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
One more time.
2:32 here in Columbia, South Carolina. That's 132 down there in Tuscaloosa, T-Town. For you, hope you're doing well on today. A lot going on in the show. Some news real quick before we get to the phone lines. I don't know if you watched the game last night. Alabama undefeated in basketball in the SEC. Doing this thing. But the thing got a little chippy, a little heated. Nate Oates came running over there, 6'2", 40-yard dash. He got in the middle of some action and put his hands on the player. Well, today he received some public reprimand from the SEC after he made physical contact while with the Missouri player during Tuesday night's game. His actions were unacceptable and violated the expectations for conduct and sportsmanship as established by the membership of the Southeastern Conference, said SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey in a statement. Under no circumstances should a coach make intentional contact with a student athlete on an opposing team. So I don't know exactly yet what is just public reprimand, or will it be something more than that? I totally agree. I think he apologized to the coach and to the player, but yet Nate should know better and should have gotten a technical foul for that. But I think maybe a fine or something's probably going to follow the situation. Also, reports coming out. We talk about the staff of Kalen DeBoer of Alabama Crimson Tide. My good friend Matt Zenith is reporting Alabama number of support staffers are parting ways, such as ex-BCOC John McNulty and ex-LSU quarterback Zach Mettenberger is departing ways from the Alabama staff. The expectation is that others like Ken Wisenhunt and Charlie Strong also won't be a part of the new staff that's coming from Matt Zenith.
Hate that, man. I was just with Zach a couple of days ago, and obviously, he's familiar with the uncertainty of things and how things go. But and again, man, it's just the unfortunate circumstances when these things happen, and it's not just here. I was, in Lowe's yesterday, and that was a circus, but ended up getting it worked out. And I see a notification that T.O. Tyler Owens, he's a former walk-on here, he was serving as Arizona strength coach. Arizona's coach just got hired to be Washington's new coach. Now he's going over and he's the head strength coach for Washington. So I'm like, the domino effect just keeps on going. It's crazy how many things in people's lives change. And again, I just heard that we might be losing a key piece, again, an off-the-field piece, and I don't know if it's fact, so I'm not going to say anything right now, but if we lose this piece that I'm thinking of, that I heard, I'm going to be upset. I was already upset about Van. Again, man, I still, if there's one thing I had to critique so far, I would probably say, man, if we can't find a job for a 2-time Purple Heart winner, I don't know. Look, man, I'm looking, being born and raised right around Fort Jackson, all my friends are in the military, right? I get it. I get bringing in your own guys, but come on, man. Now I'm kind of thinking what about Denzel Duvall, Josh Chapman, those guys who are integral pieces of the program in that player development role, right?
Do you feel secure with Jamie Mosley, play with you that's on the staff?
Freddie Roach is here, 100%. Okay. Yeah, he works with Freddie. So, 100%. Jamie should be good. And, other thing is, think about it. Technically, they have the same agent, what's his name? Sexton, right? So, that's probably not bad either. But
who has the same agent?
Well, CJ Mosley and Jamie, they both have CAA Jimmy Sexton as their agent. That's also Kalen DeBoer's agent. So I'd imagine.
He ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, I was about to say, I imagine that would work well. But like I said, Freddie Roach is here, Jamie's good. But what about Denzel Duvall and Josh Chapman? Those are two.
I feel bad for those two dudes.
No, man. Listen, bro. If you can't, to me, if you get rid of those guys, those former players, I know they weren't your players. Look, I'm not gonna lie, and it's obviously I'm biased because I'm a former player. I might have some beef. You can't get rid of those guys, man. Like, they're the ones that laid the foundation
That's what
here.
I've been saying. I've been saying this stuff. That's what I was saying. Dude, these dudes, when they come in like this, you can say what you want. They gonna feel comfortable with their people. They got two guys, Roach,
which I respect and I understand. If you want to do your job and you feel like if you want to
Ellis stand, they keeping Ellis, right?
Dude, you know how many connections Ellis? Man, you get rid of Ellis if you want. We're really gonna have no NIL or connections. Ellis is good. Baloo's here. Jeff Allen, that's a key piece. You got to have Jeff Allen.
So they are keeping some key pieces, but Chap and Denzel. Of course, Denzel was your teammate. You played behind him.
Man, I love Denzel.
And Chap is my dude.
Listen,
I will say this, and this is not
that'd be a huge mistake. I will say
the coach is not dumb, but this would be the dumbest decision if you don't keep former players. He just went out there and said, "Oh, we welcome former players."
Right.
But if you don't keep guys that's been around the success of this program, that's played at this program, that your former players are the biggest asset that you can have when it comes to recruiting.
I agree.
Because they get into the ears of mom and them and these players, and they can tell you real factual stuff. Listen, man, if you don't keep these guys, I'm going to send a message out right now, and I hope it gets a recorded clipping. Coach Kalen DeBoer, I don't know you, but one of the smartest things you can do is keep your former players that's been on the staff at the University of Alabama. I am one that came from a different state, and with my son that came to this school and played, and people like that were key in the recruitment because they've been there, and the faith and trust from another former player like myself that gets it and understanding. If you want to keep the right dudes in your building, then you keep Chap, you keep Denzel Washington. Period. There ain't no ifs, ands, or buts. If they're not there, I'm telling you right now, then I'm starting to look at this thing as a whole different picture. You can tell me, he's giving his own. Okay, well then, this is not the West Coast Alabama. This is, it might be West Alabama, but this is not West Coast Alabama. It's still the University of Alabama. And you got to know these things. Just saying, if he don't.
Yeah, that would be. I don't know, but again, that hasn't been there yet. But
I said Denzel Washington. My son said Denzel Washington.
Oh, yeah.
You got to keep him too.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, and those weren't even the two I was talking about that I was worried about. It's another piece, but again, I'll wait till I learn more, and I hope that's not the case because I'll definitely be upset about that. But real quick, because I know we got to get to Pat, and I
want to get all these falls. Well,
I do too, and we're slowly running out of time, which is crazy. It's amazing how fast.
So we got Jared, we got Pat, and want to get all those calls.
Yeah, I'm getting to Pat real quick, but Tia just had an interesting point real quick from Twitter. She said. She basically used somebody else. His name is Brandon Davis, but he said easy solution to this whole portal thing that Alabama is, a victim of right now is basically penalize these programs that are taking players during that 30-day window. Basically, so give you an example. If Texas takes a player from us in our 30-day window of Coach Saban leaving, now Texas players have a 30-day window to leave. So basically an eye for an eye, so to speak, kind of, right?
Yeah, but Alabama's not going that thought because they already set.
No. Wait, Alabama's not what?
No, you said if Texas got 30 days.
No. The tweet was just saying a way to help basically stop this madness of people just poaching all these guys during this window process would be make the schools that are receiving players from Alabama, make them open up their team to a 30-day window. So Florida State, Mike Norvell, they took 5 guys from our roster, right? And since they took players of ours during this window, they now have a 30-day window for their players. That's all I'm saying.
And I like that, too. Somebody just on the
that's what the tweet's saying. I'm sorry.
Asked about Clemson Dix is another one that's there.
Yeah, he should be good. If there's I think Coach DeBoer is smart enough to know that axing former players like that would not go well with anybody.
And ain't like you paying them a ton of money either. I mean, you got to keep those guys around.
No, but they're invaluable. We got to get to Pat. He's going on an hour and a half, man. I don't even know. Is Pat still on there? I'm so sorry, Pat.
We kind of get in order.
Pat is in order. Okay, an hour and a half?
Well, go ahead. I don't care. That's right.
Welcome in, Pat. I'm sorry,
loyal.
Pat.
I'm loyal.
I owe you, Pat. I owe you a hat. Pat. I'm gonna get you a hat. So that's 3 hats.
Look, I just appreciate being able to get in. Look, guys, I got a way of raising $7 million and fairly quickly. Oh,
$7 million?
Dang, tell me.
$7 million.
Tell me.
$7 million. All right, and that is 2 things. A little bit of an entertainment tax that we go to, because this spring, tell me if I'm wrong, is everybody and their brother not going to try to be in Tuscaloosa on A-Day in order to watch that game? Yes or no?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I'll be packed.
Okay, we charge $25 a head. They raise us $2.5 million plus at $25 a head to get in. All right. And hey, because I would be happy to pay $25 to guarantee I got a seat inside that stadium and be able to cook, do whatever the hell else I want to do, and be able to go into that ball game at my leisure. All right. Then the other thing is, go ahead. Hello?
Oh, I said, yeah, not a bad idea. That's good. Go ahead.
All right. Other thing is that we put a $100 per student entertainment tax on tuition. Listen now, that raises over nearly $5 million. We got nearly 50,000 students now. $100 per student. Hey, that's real simple math. $5 million plus. That's $7.5–8 million. Hey, that goes to NIL.
Dang,
That'll go a long ways to help it out for
Pat, he said hallelujah, Pat. You got the pastor preaching. Look, I'll say this. That's smart, man. You talk about business. I mean, if you look, here's the thing, because if you throw the $100 little tax into the tuition for out of state's already like, was it 40,000? I don't know. I'm just making a number up, but
I don't know. But hey,
they wouldn't even notice that.
Is irrelevant.
Yeah, it's not even. It's pointless at that. But yeah, I agree.
Pat, let me tell you this.
But what it does, though, it makes it to where people want to come here. These students are here not because of wanting an education at Alabama that much. They also want to see a winning football program. And if you don't have a winning product, all these condominiums that's being built, I'd like to know how many condominiums. There's one of these ladies that she advertises, comes on and does one of the earlier shows or something or other. Sailing, whatever her name is, Haley something or other maybe. Anyway, I'd like to know how many new condominiums she sold since Nick quit.
Yeah, I know. And you know what's crazy is I don't think people understand the value that Coach. I saw people talking about it. I think he made like $120 million or so coaching here. But, the lasting effect of that he contributed to this economy in terms of, like you said, the condominiums, the more enrollment of students, the businesses. Those are the people that are
out of state enrollment happened because of Nick Saban.
Doubled.
Guys, there's a house across the street. I live in Tuscaloosa. I won't say where. I live in Tuscaloosa. House across the street went for sale at $170,000. It sold for $230,000. They bid it on it. And a house behind me is for sale at $1.3 million. And this is walking distance of campus.
Yeah, I won't be. I won't be bidding on that,
Huh?
I won't be bidding on that one. That's for sure.
Well, what I'm saying is, this is only because of Coach Saban. Nothing else got that those kind of prices.
You're so right.
True,
Listen,
true.
I was saying earlier that it's the Coach Saban factor, right? Because these kids don't know Bear Bryant. Nothing about Bear Bryant. You do because you've been a Bama fan. I take it for a long time. How many years have you been a Bama fan?
Since I watched Johnny Musso, the Italian Stallion.
No, there you go. Well, these young kids have no idea about the Italian Stallion, Bear Bryant. They know Nick Saban. These kids that's coming to school, they're from out of state, from Pennsylvania and from Ohio and from everywhere else. They know Nick Saban and they know the culture of winning. They know about them things going up and down, red and black, right? They know.
Red and black. Red and white pom-pom shakers.
Whatever they are.
Yeah.
Red and black. That's Georgia, man.
I watched Joe Willie sign for more money than the president of the United States was making at the time.
Listen, I think you're right. So we're going to start plugging that. So you put it together.
They need to hire
bring
Pat.
it back.
They need to hire
Pat. You bring it back to us, and
Alabama.
we're going to say we charge them $25. We'll get it to Aaron Sotos, and then $100 for whatever you said for
tuition.
Entertainment
tuition.
fee.
Entertainment fee. And we're going to have $7.5 million. So, Caleb Downs, if you're listening, we got $7.5 million coming to you.
Oh.
Just wait till after 8. Wait till after 8 day.
Okay.
We got you. All right, Pat. Thanks, buddy.
We appreciate it, Pat.
Because Caleb Downs has got to be paid. I don't care what anybody says. It's just a fact. I don't know how we're going to do it or what we're going to do, but it's got to be paid.
Oh, 100%.
As they say, period.
That's
All
right.
right, Pat. Thanks for the phone call. We got to hit our final break of the show. I want to get the rest of these calls fast though, and we got a couple of app messages. We're gonna go like
rapid
warp
speed. We'll do about like 30 seconds a call, 45.
Or whatever. We're gonna get it rolling. Quick timeout. Back in a moment.
At 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
We are above the freezing mark this afternoon, mostly sunny, the high 36. Tonight fair, not as cold as last night, the low 21. For tomorrow, the sky becoming mostly cloudy, the chance of some light rain by afternoon, the high at 46. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 33 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
I like more than checks. Money. All I really want to see is the money. I don't really need a D, I need the money. All I back need is the money.
And welcome back to Miller's Edge. How much you need, Caleb? 100. 10 million. All right. We're going to get right to it. We got about 5 minutes left in the show. We want to make sure we get everybody in. We're going to go rapid fire right here. Ellis, we're going to get to you right out the get up, buddy. You up next. Go right ahead. Ellis, going once.
Meltdown and T-Town.
Oh, no.
Ellis, don't say that. You're going to get in trouble.
It's what it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, you know how it's going to be, though. I mean, that initial reaction is going to be tough, but I'm telling you, though, we're going to navigate. We're going to keep on moving. And remember now, technically, guys can always withdraw from the portal, so we'll have to wait and see until things are solidified, but definitely a little rocky right now for Alabama fans, unfortunately, with a lot of this news.
I had a feeling this was going to happen. So, it is what it is. Everybody just stay positive about it. Don't get all wigged out about it. Everything's going to be fine.
I agree with you, Ellis. You got to
preach. And Booger Salee, he always loves to talk about Alabama.
Booger Salee. And unfortunately, he don't know what he's talking about, but that's all good. That's a story for another
And Christian, one more thing. I wish you could have been with me today. I was out walking in a trail out in the woods.
Oh, yeah?
And I bet you I jumped up 15 to 20 deer out there walking.
Really? Dang.
Yeah.
What time were you out there?
I just got through walking. I've been listening to y'all and walking out in the trails.
Man, so that might be that cold weather.
Take your gun the next time, Ellis, and shoot one.
Well, it's government-owned property, so I better not.
We do not advise that, Ellis. So just stick to shooting them with pictures with your phone. But, Ellis, we appreciate you. We're going to try to run through these because we only got a couple minutes, so we appreciate it. We'll talk soon.
Thank you, Ellis.
All right, see y'all. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, Ellis.
Let's go to Jared. Jared, you're up next.
Jared, you there?
Jared.
There he is.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm in my car in between Austin and Dallas, heading back to Dallas. Hey, some hard numbers on what we're talking about today. The revenue numbers that I had somebody text me. So Ohio State was at the top of the list at $251 million. Texas number 2 at $239 million. But you know who's number 3? Alabama at $215 million.
Really?
And then Michigan behind Alabama at $210 million, and LSU, and then A&M. But anyways, you know what? But without NIL, I told somebody from day one, we're probably going to lose 30, 40, 50% of our players because of NIL with this retirement. Without NIL, I mean, Christian, when you were playing, if this had happened, you'd probably lose 20%, right? At the most?
Maybe, yeah.
Without NIL?
Sure.
Maybe, at the most. That's all this is. And we're going to be fine. And I don't mean to, this is blasphemous. I know this is blasphemous, what I'm about to say. But we have a better X's and O's coach. We don't have a better recruiter now. Saban was the greatest recruiter in the history of everything, period. But we have better X's and O's coaches right now. Better offensive coordinator, better quarterback coach, better O-line coach. We're going to be fine. And the world has changed so much, and our alumni are spread out all over the country now. Everything is more diversified. I do hate that we don't have a little more local SEC flair to get out and recruit, but you know what? I'm honestly looking forward to seeing what product they put on the field. If we can just hang on to a few more players, we'll be fine. And, hey, I got to say, if we're going to pay a 19-year-old kid $7 million, he better be curing cancer. not catching football.
That would be nice, man.
I kind of agree with you. I mean, that's kind of insane to pay somebody that kind of money in college, but I don't know, man. We all might have to run up to Washington. We might have to do a million person march. We're not standing for this. But this can't happen.
And my thing is, and I never hate on NIL, but I just wish, I mean, if they're going to be paying these guys all this money, at least like help them set it up where they can invest it, set up those IRAs.
I don't even care about that.
I care about that because I'm saying we're teaching
limit what they can get. Give them all $55,000.
Yeah, but I'm saying we're teaching them bad habits, bad spending habits, man. Because nobody's really. It's just like, all right, we'll give a 19-year-old kid so he can go spend $100,000 on jewelry. Terrible advice, man. But anyway, we appreciate it, Jared, man. Thank you so much for calling in.
Yeah, thank you. Real quick, someone was asking NFL players. Like Bama got the most NFL players in the NFL from a school. What are them players? I bet none of them are giving any money back to NIL. Remember the Coach Saban Alabama tweeted about all that money they got from them contracts?
Right.
How much of them contracts, how much is that going to NIL? So if I'm Aaron Suttles, I'm going to hire somebody to go after my brothers in the league to fund some of this NIL. All right, we got to get up out of here. All right, for Corey Miller, Christian Miller, Noah Haynes, we got a lot of app messages. We'll get some of those tomorrow. Noah, can you save those? I know you can.
Oh, for sure.
We'll save some of those for tomorrow. We'll be back same time, same tune, same back channel, Tide 100.9, 12:30 a.m. WTBC. And Chris, you going to keep it rolling on the X?
No, I got to go because Ryan Fowler's waiting on me. So let's go, man. We're talking. Here
Bye,
we go.
y'all. Have a great day.
You've been listening to The Miller's Edge, tackling sports daily.